Hey, hello everyone. Thank you very much for joining our preview of the Irish 2000 Guineas. My name's James Robson. I'm with Daniel Morgan. We are both from the Anti-Poster, as you can hopefully see from our name. Just a quick 10 seconds on that. So the Anti-Poster is a website that we run. We post a lot of articles, mainly with anti-post selections or doing anti-post full field guides. So for some of the big races, such as the Arc, for example, a week or so out, we'll run for every horse in contention from an anti-post perspective, and hopefully provide some useful insight to the readers. But away from that, let's move back to the Irish 2000 Guineas. First question, Daniel, do you think this is quite a strong edition of the race, or where does it sit for you?
That's quite a good question, because if you think that the first, third, fourth, fifth, sixth from the English version aren't here and none from the French are here, you might think, well, maybe it's a weak edition, but it feels a proper race, very strong. Yeah. Lots of interesting ones. Sometimes this is just like a coronation for the English Guineas winner, but even though there's one right at the top of the market, who people may feel that about, it feels a bit deeper than that.
Yeah, no, agreed. It's definitely an interesting contest, and let's get straight into it by talking about the horse at the top of the market, Field of Gold. Best horse potentially in the 2000 Guineas. A lot of discussion that you're all probably bored of listening to about the ride. Feel the horse is slightly unfortunate. The Curragh will be a fairer track, or a flat track. He won't have to deal with the dip, and also hopefully he'll be able to sort of wind up from a bit earlier out. What is interesting with the Curragh, though, is that obviously you tend to want to be on the front end. Is he going to be dropped out again to make sure he settles? Will that make it more difficult? I'm not sure. Evans, what do you think of that price, Daniel?
So quite a few questions there. One thing I did notice, first of all, is they didn't declare Serengeti, who did the pacemaking in the French 2000. So I would have thought John Gosden, Thehydranger Gosden would have been very pleased to see sort of an obvious pace angle in the race. In fact, they've actually threatened to make it themselves if they have to. They're not sure they'd want to do that. As you know, I'm a bit predictable. I don't back very short favourites. I mean, just don't do it. And obviously sometimes that's a wrong approach, because there can be value in a 2 to 5 shot, but I don't go there. And with this fella, I just have a worry, nothing on the Schumacher ride, but I will just say I feel sorry for him in the sense that the horse didn't deliver when he asked. I think he hit a bit of a flat spot, and then he kicked in. Maybe that had to do with the undulations, going to the dip and all the rest of it. But what I suppose I'm saying is I'm not absolutely convinced this guy is an out-and-out turn-of-foot miler. And I think that might be his vulnerability. That said, as you pointed out, the Curragh is a galloping track. I don't think you don't have even right on the front. You can win from behind at the Curragh, but there are questions. There are questions about the pace. As I say, questions if he hits that flat spot. And some people express the worry, it's his third race in 5.5 weeks. It's not impossible. He might not be at his absolute peak. Like many people, I think I'm looking forward to going to 10 furlongs, something like the Eclipse. And if he doesn't win this, but comes late, you can be sure that's what it'll do. I won't back him, but he's the right favourite. And now he's drifted to, I think when we were first talking, it was like 4 to 5 or something. And now even money across the board, you can get odds against on exchanges. Maybe it drifts some more. Maybe he will become a genuinely interesting price.
Yeah, I think so. I suspect tomorrow morning bookmakers will be looking to take him on. Tomorrow morning being Saturday morning of the race. And 5 to 4, he would certainly be attractive. Quite like the look of Field of Gold. I think the front three from the Newmarket Guineas look top class, and probably a class ahead of everything else in this field. So yeah, I quite like Field of Gold, which is dull, but we'll be waiting for a bigger price. Second in the market is a fellow Juddmonte horse, Cosmic Year. Why do you think Juddmonte are running him here?
That's another very good question. I was surprised. A couple of weeks ago, I thought there was no chance they'd run both of them, and they have. So this horse is all about potential, isn't it? I mean, he's just looked so good, but not at this level. But the looking so good thing, I mean, every notebook he went on his debut last year But when he did the same thing at Kempton in his next run, I mean, the 10 or 11 horses behind them, they've run 20 times since. They haven't run a race between them. Now, he absolutely thrashed them and looked brilliant in doing so. But I'm a lot of journalists, experts, pundits are pretty keen on the horses this chance. So I'm probably more the other side. That listed race he won last time up, talking of flat spots, as I did with Field of Gold, I think this fella just looked like he was, not exactly accelerating beautifully to the eye, and then by the end he was well on top. But at the time I thought, what's he beaten? In fact, to his credit, actually a couple of them have come out and won at listed or possibly Group 3 level in France since. So I'm not backing this one. He's too short on the form he's got. For all he's got, all the potential in the world. So I'm out. He wins, I lose, no question.
Okay, yeah, likewise. And then next up in the market, we have got Officer. So when the market was first priced, I think he was about 6-1. He's since drifted out to 15-2. That must be one of the biggest prices for Ryan Moore, Aidan O'Brien combination in the 2,000 guineas over the last few years. As you mentioned, he is beautifully bred. What do you make of Officer at 15-2? I'm surprised to see him have drifted out. There's a lot of pundits saying he's going to get shorter than 6-1, and probably on the day when the Irish money or the Coolmore boys get involved, then we might see him going off about 5-1. But yeah,
it would be fascinating, and I can't believe he'll start at 15-2. I mean, just to reiterate the point, Aidan O'Brien has won almost half of the runnings of this race in the last quarter century. It's an absolutely staggering record. That said, lies damn lies, and the statistics show that he's only won one of the last 7. So a bit like the English Guineas, not going through perhaps a great period for that, but demands respect. A bit like Cosmic Yim says it's all about potential. On what he's beaten on the track last time out, he doesn't deserve to be the third in the betting for this. But when he's the Ballydoyle number 1, ridden by Ryan Moore, it's a whole different ball game. As you mentioned, it's a beautiful pedigree. The only thing that struck me, I think you noticed as well, is he's Dubois, isn't he, out of Hydrangea. Now, she's a 1.5 mile winner, Group 1. Galileo. I was that's why I was surprised not to see Serengeti declared. I thought this guy's going to want a proper stiff test. Yeah. But then, of course, I realised, Field of Gold. They don't want to give Field of Gold a proper stiff test. So tactically, I don't know how they're going to play it. Clearly, he'll be running closer to the front than the back. But otherwise, I'm not quite sure how it's going to pan out.
Yeah, Hydrangea did have form over a mile, but I think probably mainly as a 2-year-old in behind Rhododendron and the Fillies mile. And then, she was stepped up, wasn't late in the season for that Ascot race, and won at a decent price. Officer, I think I'll probably be avoiding. But as I say, interesting to follow the market on him.
Yeah. Just reiterate, it's the Paddington route, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Didn't go to England. Tetrarch comes here. The Paddington was like 3-1 or something, and there was a lot of money for that horse. It was a new kind of horse. I don't quite get the vibe for this, but let's see how the money goes in the next 24 hours.
No, it'll be interesting. Often when these horses that have similar profiles to horses that have gone on to greatness in the past, like Paddington, they can be overbet because you're sort of, I don't know, the market is willing them on to replicate what's been done previously, and often it doesn't quite work out that way. Next in line, we've got Hot as Hell. So he was pulled out of the French Guineas on account of the ground. There's a bit of rain forecast at the minute, so it won't quite be as rattling fast as it was at Longchamp. Do they run at Longchamp or at Chantilly, the French Guineas?
Longchamp was the one they pulled him out.
Yeah. So it could be getting his ground. Good form behind Delacroix as a 2-year-old who has gone on to occasionally put himself at the front of the Derby market, then drift out and then see when he come back in. But irrespective, should be highly respected. I hope Green Impact would have ran better at Newmarket. I think I mentioned that when we were previewing the French 2000s. But the son of Toulon Hop, do you like him at about 8-1?
I'm pretty torn on this horse. On the positive side, he's got really good juvenile form. He's a Group 1 winner, unlike the 3 above him in the betting. And yeah, so I respect him, and in given that he is the Group 1 winner of those four with decent juvenile form, you'd say he's overpriced. I have those three nagging doubts. One is this first time out angle. I think he's the only one in the field coming here fresh. Didn't work too well for stablemate Green Impact in the English 2000 Guineas. Jessica Herring's stable is not exactly firing at the moment, so that worries me. And the other thing that worries me is that juvenile form, over a mile with De La Croix and soft ground, that sort of combination of mile, soft ground, juvenile form, that doesn't translate to me to fast ground miler at 3 in a classic. That smells of 10, even 12 furlongs. So I won't play this one, but full respect, but won't play.
Okay. Next up, we've got Aidan O'Brien's second string, about 16-1 expanded. Went off a lot shorter price for the Newmarket edition when Aidan's horses weren't running great first time out. He's quite interesting, I think, at about 16s. I'm surprised to see him so big. Obviously, not being the choice of Ryan Moore will affect the price somewhat, but his Dewhurst form looks pretty excellent now, with Shadow of Light's performance in the 2000s.
Yeah, the Dewhurst form, unlike the Racing Post Futurity Trophy or whatever it's called, Dewhurst form is what I really like. The turn of foot milers, that's where it's at. And second in the Dewhurst, narrowly beaten by a certain Shadow of Light, who didn't quite stay at the English Guineas, but looked every bit as brilliant as he was as a 2-year-old. That turn of foot that took him there, that's serious form. And if you look at just their juvenile profiles, I would like expanded out of any of the horses in the top 5 of the betting. I really do.
Yeah.
The problem you've got is that very poor on return in the English Guineas. Now, the counter argument to that is you'd say, well, fine, Ballydoyle, they always improve for a run. The trouble is, Aidan O'Brien has freely admitted, and I think he was genuinely here rather than making excuses, he made a complete mess of it because Twain was going to run the English Guineas. He was a tweaked foot or something. He did something. And so they rushed this guy up when he wasn't actually due to run for another few days until the Tetra. Maybe it's only 2 days. But he admitted he missed a gallop. And anyway, he looked laboured. And on the purity of that run, you cannot back a horse on that. But given the context of these Ballydoyle horses and the number of lengths they're improving for their second run, I don't like the fact that and this sounds silly, I don't like the fact that he's such a big price. Because that could suggest that even the yard doesn't think he's ready to do the business after what happened 3 weeks ago at HQ at Newmarket. But I will not be able to resist having a few pounds win only. I mean, I did say this morning, actually, you get 20-something on Betfair. For the best 2-year-old form of the top 5 in the market, who could really improve leaps and bounds, forgive that last run. Yeah, I think you've got a little dabble, haven't you? Perhaps not way because he really could flop again. But yeah, he's dangerous. I like him.
Yeah, cool. And then next up, we've got a horse also around 60-1 and also with Group 1 juvenile form. Potentially, I suppose both Thehydranger and Memas were famed for their 2-year-old exploits, so maybe that's something to bear in mind. But Scorby Champ, son of Memas, flopped in the 2000 Guineas. I didn't like him for that, and I don't think I like him for this.
I don't either. One thing nags in my mind, I noticed that John Gosden wrote a couple of days ago in the Racing Post that everyone's forgetting about Hot as Hell, the only Group 1 winner in the field. Well, he was wrong there. This fella's a Group 1 winner as well, Scorby Champ. He won the National Stakes, didn't he? Over 7, like you, Memas Mile Classic. I don't think Memas has ever got a Classic winner over a mile, has he? I'm not actually sure about that, but that's a doubt of mine. No, he was also dull, not as bad as expanded in the Guineas, but Joseph O'Brien, at no point did he say, Scorby Champ, I'm using the English Guineas as a prep run for the Irish equivalent.
No.
Was prime, that or as much as JOB could get him. And given the choice of him or expanded, he was actually now a bigger price because Scorby Champ has been backed down from 20s to 14s. He's a line of blue on odds checker. I'd much prefer to take a chance on expanded than this guy, but let's not forget he's a Group 1 winner.
Yeah. Another horse then with great 2-year-old form is Rashabar, who won the Coventry at a huge price. Those of you who are members of our email list and follow the website would have seen us put up an article with him at 25 to 1. Into 16s, do we still like him at 16s?
I'm going to stick my neck out here, James. Probably make a fool of myself. I'd make him second favourite.
Wow.
With question of a doubt. I would make him, if I had to play bookmaker, if it was my money on the line, I wouldn't go any higher than 5 or 6 to 1 for this horse. So I think he's still completely overpriced. At 25 to 1, it was nuts. Incidentally, Paddy Power, when they priced up the 48-hour market for about 8 minutes, they went 40s, which was a brief fury storm on Twitter and various people who couldn't get on. Then they halved it. He's now best 16s, mostly 14, some 12. I think he'll shorten again. I think he should shorten. I think he's arguably got the best 2-year-old form in the race. And the icing on the cake is Brian Meehan, who doesn't get his horses primed to run first time out, had this fella second in the Greenham to Jonquil, who you and I both think was probably in a way, the moral winner of the
definitely.
pace dynamic of that race. Rashabar will step up on that first run, which was behind an excellent horse. And I think he's got a win shout. And I think he's a massive play as an each way play because, as I say, the form is there in the book. 2-year-old and 3-year-old. He's never disappointed. He's beaten a nose in that Group 1, the French Guineas. You got Camille Pizarro, who just beat him. Matisse was behind. Field of Gold was behind. He was just touched off in the morning. He won the Coventry over 6 furlongs of fast ground at Ascot. So he's got a proper turn of foot. The French race, when he almost won that Group 1 on out day, was soft. I think he's bomb-proof. I think he's an absolutely standout bet. Yeah. Even 25s was better. 40s was better. Even I think he's a good bet, a really good bet. If this is the first of this race, I'd think, wow, I'm all in.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if that doesn't sell it, I don't know what will. Moving on to Windlord.
Horribly wrong, isn't it?
Yeah. The third of the Juddmonte runners. Not really sure why he's running, to be honest with you. Does he have the form to win this?
No, he doesn't have the form to win this. They tried him in one of the classic trials. Was it the one at Sandown, 10 furlongs?
Yeah, Swagman one.
Was beaten by a sort of lesser light middle distance hope from Ballydoyle.
Although Damasis was also in that race, maybe back in third and ran very well in the Dante.
Yes, absolutely. So since that looked good, but doesn't necessarily look good about him dropping back to a mile, does it?
No.
The step up to mile 2.5. I've read different things about this. Someone said, they're running this third horse as a pacemaker, I read somewhere. And then someone else said, we think we got it wrong, stretching him out, and we think he's a miler. I don't know what to believe. I'm going to wait and see, when you see the Connections comments later today, when they're quoted in the Sporting Life post. I'll really watch these keenly because he's not an uninteresting horse. But like you, I don't quite know what he's doing here. Interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. We'll move on to the last horse in the field, and that is Kamanchi Brave. Yes, 50 to 1 shot at the minute. Juvenile form not superb, but his run last time out should put him in and amongst things here when he was second to Henri Matisse.
He's about as interesting rag of the field as you'll find on his 3-year-old form. His 2-year-old form, he's got absolutely no chance at all. If you can take his seasonal debut behind Henri Matisse, literally, he's eye-catching. But I think there are 2 reasons to doubt that. Henri Matisse was giving away £5, and much more to the point, Henri Matisse was on his seasonal debut absolutely in no way wound up for that, as was pre-announced before the race, and he just got up to win from an unpromising position. So whether you can say, he's only a length and a half, or whatever it was, worse than the French 2000 Guineas winner, it might be stretching it. But that was certainly an eye-catching run, and if he can build on it, maybe there are wilder ones to come in the top 3, 4, 5. It's not uninteresting.
Okay, cool. The dog's barking to signal that we're wrapping up. He wants more. He wants to know final selections, and I'm sure that the shrewd, the ones who have paid attention, will find it very easy to note that it is obviously going to be Rashabar as the selection for the race, still at 16-1. We'll be waiting to see if he gets down into second favourite. I'm not sure. I reckon Officer might go off second favourite. And maybe Rashabar, he'll get down to single figures.
For clarity, I wasn't saying he would go off second favourite.
Yeah.
Bookmaker, that's what I'd do. But 16s is just still available. He's as short as 12s. I know there's a little 14s. I don't know where it'll end up, but if someone like Pricewise goes from, he could go 10-1, something like that. But yeah, still like him, and I will have some pennies on Expanded at a wild price as well.
Okay.
Not each way.
Yeah, and also potentially, I don't know, the Kamanchi Brave. If you're wanting to do a tri-cast, you could chuck him in as well to pay for that trip to Dubai. Okay, right. Well, thank you very much for making this far, everyone. We're about to jump in and record a 1,000 guineas. So hopefully we'll see you there. And remember to visit the website and visit our Twitter account. See you soon. Bye.